All right, so what I'm about to review again is how to physically print your drawings when you're working in Revit. And in Revit, you do have the option of printing on our large format printer. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. But I only want you to use this large format printer, which is the Plotwave 500, if you are just printing a single sheet. So if you just need a floor plan or you just need an elevation, go ahead and print from here. Am I projecting? Okay. Like, wait a second. But if you, the majority of the time, you will want to print more than one sheet. And so what I suggest doing is still print to a PDF and then use that PDF to physically print your set on the large scale printer. Last week when we were talking about printing, I mentioned that it's a good habit to always export as a PDF and then print from it, because then you have a digital copy of that print set. So for example, if you had a meeting with the client, and this actually happened to me, but this happened like 15 years ago, so I don't know if it's relevant, but what had happened was we had met with the client and I had printed to a PDF and then I printed my sheets. And then about 2-3 weeks later, we hadn't had a follow-up meeting, but they had received an invoice and they weren't happy about the number of hours on the invoice. So we told them, you know, we worked on this, this, and this. They're like, no, you didn't. And luckily, I had a PDF that showed this is what we gave you guys in the meeting. For that particular meeting, we had taken meeting notes, but we didn't have a markup set. We had given them the one set that we had printed, and we let them take them home. So it was really nice to show them, like, this is exactly what we gave you that day. There was a timestamp on it. AutoCAD always automatically does a timestamp, whether you want to or not. So it had the timestamp built into the PDF, and it showed the date of the meeting. But the timestamp is what really saved us. So I always like to have the PDF as kind of like a CYA, a cover your bum kind of thing. So what I'm going to do right now is I won't go through setting everything up on the Plotwave again, but you can choose the Plotwave and print from here if you're doing one sheet at a time. If you do more than one sheet, as we have found out, you will get a dialog box for every single sheet and have to verify the setup, and it could ruin the pagination. So one of our students saw that instead of printing it in order, it starts from the back and moves forward. So it's a reverse order. What I'm going to do instead is go ahead and select my cute PDF writer. And since we all know how to print full scale, I'm going to show you guys how to automatically scale your set to be 50%. Okay? And you are not required to print a 50% scale set. Sometimes you can just hop into a PDF printer and just say no scaling, scale it to fit. I'm just marking it up, but I do at least want you guys to know the technique of a 50% set. So I'm first going to make sure I have more than one sheet, and I do. I've got my first floor and my exterior elevations. And then from here I'm going to hop into setup, and here's a few things that we changed. So Arch C is a 12 by 18 sheet, and it's an 18 by 24, or you can do Arch B, which is a 12 by 18. So you kind of have to do the math on what works for you. Let me write these down up here. And the reason why everybody's going to be different is when we started working on these sets, our default size was 22 by 34, right? So if we half that, it's 11 by, I don't know how to do that math, 17, right? 11 by 17. If you have a 24 by 36, half of that is the 12 by 18. Or if you have the larger set, the 30 by 42, that's even bigger. That's the 18 by 21. So you have to decide which one works best for you at half. So let me just do some quick conversions here. So 22 by 34, 24 by 36, and then 30 by 42. Half of that is 11 by 17, 12 by 18. Oh, nope. Brain not moving fast enough. Thank you. 20, what? 21. Why is that so hard? I have an audience.
You're writing, you're talking, and you're...
Which one is Arch B?
Oh, yes. That's what we care about. So this is just called tabloid, or 11 by 17. This is Arch B. This is Arch C. This is, no, okay, so these are these sizes right here. Okay, that size. Over here, this is E, and this is D or D plus. I've seen it go both ways. It's always been traditionally D, but I've seen it D and D plus. So test that one. This one I have no idea what it is. I've never seen that one before. This is the first time where I'm like, oh, is that why they do this size so that you can easily get a half size 11 by 17? So those are the sizes. And let me check. Let's make this official. So on mine, I am still at the 22 by 34. So I'm going to go ahead and still print on the Arch D. And I'll know that I'm just going to have, see this margin right here where my mouse is? I'm just going to have a larger margin. If you have a perfect 24 by 36, if you print on the Arch D, you won't have that margin. Okay? So again, the reason why I'm doing everything in here as a PDF is so that when I print the PDF, if I send it to the large format printer, I don't have to approve every page. I can just send it all and be one and done. Yep.
If you're printing on the Arch D, you don't need to be at 50% for
No, so if you're making a full scale set, you don't have to scale it, but I'm doing a half scale so that I don't need to change the settings. So I'm going to just make it in here. And in fact, what I'll do is I'm going to first do a PDF of a full scale set, and then I'll do another one of a half. So print. So here, I'm going to go back to setup. Since it's already set up to be 50%, I'm going to go ahead and just do my half size set first. So Arch B, because I need a 12 by 18, and I'm zoomed in at half, and I'm still centered. Everybody with me on that? Okay. So Arch B, centered half. And then when I'm out here, I'm going to combine my sheets. And then I haven't added the word half to this yet, but I know that when I hit OK, it's going to confirm what I want to call it and where I want to save it. So here in my Revit folder, I just added the word half to it, and I'm going to override it and then hit save. It already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes. So that one is done. I have a half size set. And now I'm going to do the full size set too. No, this is just so I have it on the lecture. So in here, this is typical of what we've always done. So again, I'm in the Arch D, and I want it to be centered, and the zoom should go back to 100%. So that's something to watch out for. Once you change the scale, just make sure that you change it back to 100%. We've kind of tweaked with the default zoom. I want it to be centered. I'm going to hit OK. And combine multiple selected. That's what I want. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I'm going to save it as the tiny house. And then save. Okay. So just to recap again, in Revit, I created two 2 PDF sets, one full size, which we've done all throughout the semester, and then I introduced a new technique on how to scale it to be half size. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up. I see that most of you guys are printing from PDF Architect. Do you guys want me to work in there? Let me do it for this example. So for here, I'm going to go ahead and open from my computer. Let me browse. So here are my 2 sets. Let's see what those 2 look like. So this one is my half. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And really, they shouldn't look too much different from each other. See how just looking at my screen, they don't look very different? Now in PDF Architect, let's see, does it show me how far I'm zoomed in or out? Usually it's like 100%, 125. It doesn't?
It does on the bottom.
Does it?
Yeah, there's a little scale.
Thank you. So let me get this to half. So the half scale set at 50% looks like this. The full size set at 50% looks like this. Now do you guys see that there is a difference between the 2 of them? Okay. The full size set, I won't print again. It's the same procedure. And even in the half, since we printed it out on the sheet size that we wanted, we should just be able to go through, whoops, maybe. Yep, so we're gonna go to print. I'm gonna go to the plot wave. Paper size, as I mentioned before, it still is Arch B. And in the preview, let's see, I'm gonna go center. The only thing I'm trying to find is the zoom. Use actual PDF dimensions for paper size. Let's see if that works. It's using millimeters. No, I don't know what that means. Why are you working in millimeters? 304. Does anybody see a scale option? Maybe? Auto rotate center.
Can you go down further? I bet it looks like the scroller goes down. No?
This is it. I just want to make sure. Okay, let me turn on. Here's the fit button.
It says down at the bottom, use actual PDF dimensions for paper
So
size.
I can't use that because do you see how it's using millimeters? Let me show you what happens.
Yeah.
If I do that, that doesn't help my brain. I can't calculate that. I think it's right, but I don't know.
Fair enough.
Here's this. Do you see where it says fit? Make sure that's off. Because if fit is on, like right now, do you see how it's not really doing anything? Because it fits to the sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and turn fit off. And everything else should be good. So now if you want more copies for your peers to review, just add another copy. But you should just be able to go ahead and print. And the same dialog box, I think, should come up if you selected the OSE. Yep. So here it is right here. And do you see how it's giving me both pages? So page 1 of 2, instead of each one in a different dialog box, we can do all of it straight from here. Okay. And then for the tiny house, this is my full scale set, right? If you don't care for a half size, right, you can just come here and go to print and pick see what it does on the 12 by 18. Go ahead and hit fit. Or if you are printing here, let me find this one. Let's go to 11 by 17. And if you turn fit off, this is what it looks like. Or if you turn fit on, you can just squish it all on an 11 by 17. Okay? Either way, these are just markup sets, so it isn't important that it's to scale. But there are times where maybe your contractor or the city will want a half size scale. So you can do it this way. So with that, we had a little bit of a bump. Go ahead and make sure that you have 2 markup copies to share. And if you'd like a copy for yourself, do whatever copy for yourself. Full size, half size, scaled to fit, it doesn't matter. And then when we get back, how many, let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. There's 10 people here. So make sure at least you share your plans with 2 different people. And then if there's time, we might do a third. Maybe give them like your set, but at least 2 different people should review your set. When Lindy gets back, I'm going to give you guys some advice on what to mark up. Just because, again, it should be constructive criticism rather than I like it, I like it, I like it. Okay, so good. All right, so now that hopefully start switching in just a sec if you haven't yet. But here's a few things that I want you to look for. Some people are really good at jumping in and being able to redline. Some people don't know what they do because they don't want to hurt people's feelings. But remember, this isn't a matter of like hurting feelings or whatever. You're trying to make your work and your peers' work be the best it can be. And part of that is to point out like your fly is down, right? So like spelling errors, sheet names and numbers that don't really correspond. Like if they have A's and then they have I's, you know, look for those types of consistencies. If it says interior elevation, but it's really an exterior, you know, look at those types of things. Also, dead end call-outs. If there are sections that are cut that aren't being called out on a sheet, just circle it and say, place this section on a sheet, or get rid of this element, hide it, whatever you want to do. Dead ends are always big. View placement on the sheet. How does it look? Is the floor plan too small? Is it too big? Is it like up to the left and kind of awkward? Remember, bottom or top right or centered is what we're going for. Okay, so look at sheet placement too. And then overall legibility. If they've drawn something on a plan and you don't know what it is and there's not a note, circle it and put a question mark. Or if there is something that you're like, it would be so nice if there's an interior elevation of this, call it out and let them know. Or if there's an interior elevation that like shows you nothing, maybe put an X through it and say, you probably don't need this, or add something to it. Like, is this a work in progress? So those are a few things. If there's other things that you'd like to add, please go beyond that. But just know this exercise isn't to be mean or to make you uncomfortable. It's really to help that person improve so that when they turn in the next round, it's really the best version of it. And after your peers go through your work, please go through your work as well, right? They're going to see some things, and then I'm sure you'll see some things too. So what I'll be looking for is turn in your PDFs. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Whoops, that's not where I meant to go. So make sure you turn in a PDF before you go. I don't know what I did with that. Let me go back. I don't know why it went to the speed grader when I clicked on the assignment. Let's do it this way. Okay, so for this one, the only thing that I need is a PDF of what you've given to your peers today. To be completely honest, I'm not going to look at it until you turn in your midterm, like the final version of it. So there's going to be another assignment where you turn in your final midterm. And for the final midterm, you're going to be turning in 3 things. The latest Revit file. Ooh. Okay. And then the PDF from today. I know it's kind of redundant, but it helps me to have them all in one place, as well as an updated PDF set. So 3 things that you'll be turning in. And I am going to be keeping that open until the Tuesday that we get back from spring break. And I'm probably going to be keeping it open until like midnight that night. So not before class, but even that Tuesday that we get back from spring break, I'm just planning on that being like a work day, because truly I want you guys to take spring break off. So if you work on this, when you get your red lines today when you go, you have my blessing to work on it from today until Friday at midnight. But Friday at midnight, just step away from it. I think everybody is so overwhelmed right now, and when you try to work when you're overwhelmed, you're not as productive, and it's just harder to get anything done. And then take the entire week off, and then at any point the weekend before spring break, so like Saturday, Sunday, or even just starting Monday, like Sunday at midnight, then start working on it again. There shouldn't be more then 1 or 2 days work for you guys to clean these up. I mean, really, they're done. There's just a few things that you should change. So that's why I think that just having, if it was my way, I would love for you guys to turn these all in before Friday at midnight. That would just make me the happiest person, because then you could truly get spring break off. In fact, I will give you guys extra credit to turn them in Friday before midnight, because I really want you guys to have spring break off. I'm still going to keep it open the Tuesday after. If you turn in anything over spring break, I'm marking you down. Okay? So those are the open periods that I want. But Friday before midnight, and I'll throw in like 5 extra credit points because it shouldn't be that much work. And remember, Thursday's a work day. So you have class time on Thursday to work on this. And whatever you don't get done Thursday, maybe spend some extra time Friday. Okay? All right, that's it. Go ahead and trade if you haven't yet. The rest of class time is for you guys to do the red line markup